Hello, beautiful people. Natalie Bushnell here. I am a traditional Rishi by the Hindu culture, which basically means that I have the ability to experience God and creation and the stories that you've been told your entire lives firsthand. I have the ability to go, my life is an entire journey of this spiritual awakening. And a lot of times when rishis speak, it's in poetry or in story form to help other people understand better what we experience, because a lot of times it can't be translated in a way that humans can comprehend. So a lot of times we'll use story form to help the understanding. Today we're going to talk about the story of creation, which I have experienced personally, firsthand. So it's not something you're going to read like in the Bible or some kind of book like that. This is going to be first-hand experience. Rishis are very rare to find. We tend to not need to prove anything, so if it's something we need to argue about, we're going to just tap out. Because we've been there, we've done that, we have nothing to prove. But for today's purpose, the reason why we share the story for you is so that you can understand the importance of your life currently and why you're here. And so you can let go of a lot of the beliefs, the cultures and societies have put on top of you, so that you can step fully into becoming you and why you're here. In the very beginning, hold on, I have my son with me. Everything was dark and black. We lived in nothingness, and it was perfect. Can you imagine no noise? Perfection. And as we stayed in this state for centuries, suddenly we had a thought. And the very first thought that we had was, how can we exist forever? And this question actually created the very first emotion, which was fear. We could die? We had never thought of that. And suddenly, a ricochet happened, and this white mist came out of nothing. Out of nothing came something. That is why nothing is actually more powerful than something. Think about that for a second. Out of nothing came something. It was the white mist. And in that white mist, of blackness and white, another sound came. The very first heartbeat of the universe. And it was pink. And we fell in love with that pink. And it beat again, and again, and again, and again. And we fell in love with the sound and the color of that beat. And pretty soon, we noticed it created images. And out of images, we started to create stories. And we started to create fabrics, and draw images in our fabric. And thus, we created man. But we decided man was bored. He needed a woman. So we created feminine. And then we started to create stories, love stories. And we fell in love with the story, and we fell in love with the light, and we fell in love with the sparkles. And we streamed these stories through light for centuries, just creating and dreaming in thought and imagination. But soon, we started to create little thought babies, and thought babies started to dance and rebel. And they became color, and they became the rainbow. And they started to want to shimmer and break off. And we were like, no, 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 no. And we would gather, and you have to run straight in the straight and narrow path. And the rainbows were created, and the lights started to form. These beautiful colored pathways of fabric through the ethers. And then they started to shatter into auroras. And we're like, no. And we tried to perfect them and gather them back into streams of light again. And this war between the masculine and feminine started to happen because the mother started to realize her babies wanted to create. They wanted to be able to live forever. They wanted to become immortal and create a unique identity. And so she started to give birth. And the energy between the masculine and feminine became so intense and so much pleasure, and so many babies were being formed that she had to create separation because it became too intense. And she started to pull back from her partner. And she was willing to fall for her children and to descend into a lower vibration so that they could start creating their own stories. And because this war had happened and she had learned that children were going to rebel regardless, she gave them both. She gave them the connection of mother, of light, back to her and back to their creator. But she also gave them the gift of rebellion and free will so that they could start creating their own lives. They were the rainbow children, and she wanted them to rebel and create whatever life they truly desired, but always knowing that they could return back to the light, back to creation. And so she started to plant seeds and give birth to seeds and give birth to cells and give birth to eggs into these perfect forms of creation, perfect forms, with the knowing that one day they would develop and start taking thoughts and beliefs that would make them completely unique, that would make them completely rare, like a snowflake. And each one was going to be perfect in the beginning, but then it became magnificent in its imperfection because it created the uniqueness that everyone truly desired, so that they could create this infinity loop of creation. Back and forth. Now in the very beginning, when we first started to develop, we were little bacteria, little cells, and then they grew into perfection until we became plants. And those flowers would come through the earth's crust, and it was hard, and it was rough, and they had pushed past all the way to the top, and then they would see the sun. They loved the sun. It was so amazing, and they had so much joy to express. But then soon they would start to wither and die and go back into the winter, and it would get cold, and they would shiver. And then they would rebirth as well. And it would all start over again and again until they learned to evolve, and they became creatures, and then they became man, because they were seeking immortality in a space where they could live for longer and longer stretches of time without death, so they could retain their memories, so they could continue to manifest and create at a faster rate. And then they learned if we become gods, we can both honor the mother and the father, but stay here forever, creating. So they became spiritual and physical beings. And they learned how to walk the balance. If they could live for a spiritual cause, they were still able to do whatever they wanted. Think of the hippies. And they started to create their own types of heaven. These states where they could stay in states of bliss for longer periods of time. And so they created this entire world based on their desire to take a vacation from being perfect. We are the rebels of light. We are the rainbow children. We are the ones who wanted to be unique. And every time we try to reach out to uniqueness, a religion or something comes in and wants to sabotage us and make us straight and perfect again. You need to be obedient, you need to be organized, you need to be this, you need to be that. And so the hippies, they come back. The rebels and the rainbow children, they come back. And so to balance this, you need to live for a spiritual cause, but still rebel and become uniquely you. And stop limiting yourself by all the beliefs and structures of your society and your religions and your cultures that have tried to keep you in the straight and narrow path. Because yes, that does lead back to God, but you came here to rebel on purpose. You are a rainbow child. You came here to have fun and to play and to have excitement in your life. You are this moment. You are now. You are everything and you are nothing. When you learn how to open your heart chakra and live in the present moment and release all of the beliefs, trauma, shame, and fear around you and learn how to get completely present with who you are, things will happen.